2 News begins right now with breaking news.
In-depth team coverage tonight at 6 as South Carolina Supreme Court orders baby Veronica back to her adoptive parents in South Carolina. We have reporters and reaction coming in from across Oklahoma, where the girl is currently living, and all the way to South Carolina.
We begin with 2 News reporter Brandon Richard, who's with a local group outraged by today's opinion.
Well, anyone who's followed this custody dispute from the beginning, though, there's been a lot of ups and downs for both sides. One court will come along and rule one way, and another comes along and rules a completely different way. But Cherokee Nation officials tell me today's ruling is the absolute worst news they've received since this legal battle began. Now, the tribe fighting to keep baby Veronica with her biological father, a member of the Cherokee Nation. Within the last hour, I spoke with the Assistant Attorney General for Cherokee Nation. She says the South Carolina court's ruling today was made without holding another hearing and following that big U.S. Supreme Court decision last month. She says the South Carolina court made the ruling without considering what's best for baby Veronica.
I actually saw the family this morning. This child is happy and healthy and smart and outgoing. She doesn't know what's going on. What she does know is she loves her daddy and her mommy, her stepmom, her Mimi and Papa, and the rest of her family, her ducks and geese and horses and guinea pigs. And that's her entire world right now. And to take her away from that would be absolutely devastating.
Now, the tribe says this isn't over. They say baby Veronica is not going to be handed over to South Carolina just yet. They'll be working closely with Dustin Brown's attorneys. They have 5 days to file a motion for a rehearing, and they're confident there will be additional filings in this case. They say this is not a final order transferring custody to the adoptive parents in South Carolina, but they concede that it is one step closer to that. Live in Tahlequah tonight, Brandon Richard, 2 News works for you.
Thanks, Brandon. Now, this case has been going on almost since the day Veronica was born. On September 18, 2009, 3 days after her birth, the couple Biancos filed in South Carolina to adopt her. In November of 2011, a South Carolina court denied the adoption petition and ordered Veronica be returned to her biological father. The court ruled that Veronica's birth father wasn't properly notified of the adoption under the Indian Child Welfare Act. After the South Carolina Supreme Court refused to hear the case last August, the couple Biancos appealed to the U.S. Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court issued its opinion on June 25th, saying the Indian Child Welfare Act didn't apply and sent the case back to the South Carolina Supreme Court.
As of right now, baby Veronica is still in the custody of her dad, Dustin, here in Oklahoma. 2 News reporter Liz Bryant spoke with Dustin just a short time ago. She joins us now live from Nowata with more on what he had to say. Liz?
Well, right here in Nowata is where baby Veronica is currently living and has for the last year and a half. And I just about 45 minutes ago spoke with her biological father, Dustin Brown, on the phone. He told me he has no comment at this time. He very respectfully and nicely didn't raise his voice, just said he really doesn't want to make any statement, nor does he want any family members speaking to the media at this time. However, I did speak with Brown's attorney on the phone all the way from Charleston, South Carolina, and I want to tell you his statement. He said, quote, Mr. Brown wants everyone to think of his child's life as it is now and how he and his wife are her whole life. He said this is not right.
I respect our court. I've appeared numerous times before that court. I know this was not an easy decision for that court, and we will look at our options and go forward.
Now, before calling Dustin on the phone, I went by their house here in Nowata, where no one currently is. However, the neighbor told me just last week she saw baby Veronica in the backyard playing with the dogs and that she always seems happy. We'll, of course, have continuing coverage live here at 10 o'clock. In Nowata, Liz Bryant, 2 News works for you.
Thank you, Liz. Russ?
Well, all right, Karen, thanks. You know, the adoptive case has raised a lot of questions about the adoption process here in the United States, and I'm joined by Michael Nomura, who has you're with the Heritage Family Services. You're an attorney. You deal with adoptions. You even worked on this case a little bit. Tell me a little bit about your reaction to today's ruling. You surprised?
Well, I was surprised that they didn't hold a hearing, as the tribe said. I assumed that they would, but they are following up quickly on the U.S. Supreme Court's ruling, and the U.S. Supreme Court essentially remanded it back and told them to process this case, and that seems to be what they're trying to do.
What do you think this means for families who are looking to adopt in the future? Will it have any chilling effect on that, you think?
No, if anything, it may be a little bit the opposite, in that the Supreme Court gave some clarification to certain situations when the Indian Child Welfare Act does apply and when it may not apply. And this is only the second time they've issued a ruling clarifying the Indian Child Welfare Act. So in future cases, it may be a little more clear. This case is still muddy. It's going to be a continued battle.
Well, and that's what I was going to ask next. They say, I guess, there's 5 days for a response now. Do you anticipate that either the Cherokee Nation or the biological father will intervene and try to seek some kind of other ruling in this case?
Very definitely. I think both the birth father and the tribe will file motions, and I think there'll be further appeals, even if their motions are not accepted. I think whenever the lower court issues the finalization of the adoption, there will be further appeals of that.
I think what a lot of people look at is this child, and she's coming up on 3 years old now, and she's lived with different families in different states, and now she may be moved again. Does the court take that into consideration? And I mean, she's getting to an age where she's going to remember some of this.
Yes, the court is concerned about the bonding and attachment that occurs, and that this is an impact. And I think that's in part why the U.S. Supreme Court told the South Carolina court to move this along expeditiously.
All right, we're going to see what happens next. Right now, the order is for the child to go back to South Carolina. Do you think that sticks?
It's going to be a fight.
Yeah, okay. Michael Nomura, thanks for joining us.